your camera. Okay. Camera. Okay. Doesn't matter about the camera. Let's see. Recording and started by you. Let everybody know. Okay. So that's good. Okay. Now, all right. Now share. All right. Well, welcome. Sorry for the busyness here. I hope you've had a good day and a good week so far. Say something so I'm sure I'm connected again. Are you there?
I hear you. Yep, I hear you.
Okay, and okay, great. Okay, so do you have questions before we get started?
I don't.
No?
I
Okay.
don't think so. No.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Sorry about that. Got a little clear my throat a bit. Okay. That's better. Now. Looks like I need to close a couple things here. Uh, Save that. Close. Oh, okay. I'm working off the PDF. Okay, good. And that'll speed things up here. All right. Don't save. Okay. That should help. All right. Okay. All right. Actually, for the third time. All right. I'm ready to go. Sorry for the delay. So it is Wednesday, just about 3 o'clock, and we are going to have week 2. So welcome, and thank you very much for joining in early, and I like that very much. So, okay, come on, there we go. No, that's too far. There. Okay, all sessions are being recorded. Officially, I think that's correct today. Assumptions. Every person learns differently, and it's okay. That's what makes teaching so interesting. And I want you to celebrate your uniqueness. You know, don't compare yourself with anybody else. Everybody has a process, whether they think or visual, however it works. Just celebrate yourself. You are great, and talk about a little bit about homework from the 6th. I received some beautiful reports from you. I want to thank you, and let's take a quick peek anonymously at what we got. Okay, so here's 1, 2, and 3. Just a snippet of each. So you can see you're all doing great after just one lesson, and you are doing fantastic. I was so pleased with your samples that you sent me. Thank you so much. I could tell you put in some good thought and work on those to get them to this point. And there were some questions too, and so we'll take a look at some questions, but let's have some fun first on the tips and tricks about working in Sage. In Sage, there is a tab up at the top right here, called Home and Resources. There are so many good things in there. We'll touch on a couple of them. There are release notes, which tells you information about the last update. And you can go in and get downloads and updates there in this tab. So you can submit product ideas. You can get the product enhancement program and so much more. We'll take a quick look on these next 3 pages and see. Okay. Yeah, okay. Did that just go up? Yeah, that just went up. Okay, so let's do this. Come on, click. Okay. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay. So did you know that in your Sage 100 contractor, there's many helpful areas which you, when you have questions or want to give Sage input, one of the areas is product documents. And if you click on that, this arrow, you get a whole bunch of things here. I'll just mention the release notes. That's really a good thing to go through and take a look at, because it talks about all the different things that are new in Sage or fixes that were done, but you learn things that you didn't know that it could do in the release notes. But take a look at all those things that are in these sections. Sage support, a little arrow gives you the downloads and updates, the knowledge base, live chat, and those types of things. And down here, submit product ideas and the enhancement program. And we'll show that on the next page here. I won't spend a lot of time, so I just want to point these out so that you know that they're there. And when you have time, that's a joke, isn't it? Having time, but yeah, when you can, take a quick look at some of these areas. You can submit ideas, things that you'd like Sage to do in the software so that it could get better. And that's what submit your ideas is. Right now they have 2,182 ideas in there. And what they do is you submit your idea, and first of all, you mention what your idea is, and it'll tell you if there's something else in there already like that, and it'll take it to there. And then you can see how many people have voted for those. So people take a look at the stuff through and click on a vote if they want to encourage Sage a little more to work on some of these ideas. And so that's what all of this is about. I'll leave that at that point and have you take a look and do those things. Product enhancement, just point that out that that's there, and take a look at that when you get a chance. I don't want to spend much time on these because I could spend hours, but let's just keep going. And so at the bottom of your Sage screen, there's a row of things. We're going to talk about, not today, but we're going to talk about the chat, the help, and all the things that are here at the bottom, on your Sage menu. Like right across here. And you can find a lot of things, especially setting your menu so that you can just keep the menu items showing that you use all the time. Anyway, and that's the hide menu button. And so let's just get going because there's good stuff coming up today. Okay. You want to write custom reports. Well, let's take a look, ahead for you in your future. Uh, Today we're taking baby steps. Next Wednesday, pole vaulting. Well, you get the idea. Let's take a look in your future. So let's take a look at some of the reports that are done in Sage. That you could be doing these in the weeks and months ahead. I want you to practice every day at work for your work. Work on reports for work. But get used to doing some report writing every day at work, even if it's just 10 minutes or 15 minutes. You learn by doing, and the key to doing great things is to do small things every day. Small things become larger, bigger, greater things. And the secret is if you don't do some report writing every day, you will forget what you learned yesterday. That's really true, especially about report writing. So let's take another look at some reports that I've done, just so you get a sense of the types of things that you can do. This is a report. Now, this is the header. This is part of the report form. And there's a pop-up screen, and I can show you how that happens. And it has these categories. I think I have that in the next picture. Nope. Let me go into this bigger so you can see that. There we go. So there's a pop-up screen, and it gives you each of these categories, 5 different things, and it gives you a place in the pop-up screen to enter in this case, a percentage. These percentages then are used in the report itself, which you can see. Come on. Which you can see are being used down in here to affect these figures. Anyway, that's one option for report the kinds of reports that you can do. It's not just a plain title, date at the heading, and the page number at the bottom. There's a lot that you can do. Let's go on to the next one and take a look at this. My computer is really acting weird. It's slow, and I don't have that much open. Well, I guess I do. Okay, come on. Okay, stop that. I went one too far here. Let's go on down. Let's get back up. There we go. Okay, now this is a report form. Well, actually, it has a little spot right here for the custom report part. Right there is where the custom stuff comes in. But all of this is on the form. And you can be as fancy or as little bit as you want. But this is I call it a commercial invoice just so that it has a differentiating name. But it has, lots of different little boxes and topics. That was dangerous the last time. Let me see if I can go a little closer here. So it's got PO number and the currency, country of origin. So these are the commercial invoice types of things that you need. And this is just a nice way to show it off in a form so that it's real readable, nice to do. And then it scrolls all the data because there's not much room on the bottom here for data. That goes into page 2 and 3 and 4, whatever. And so that's one type of report form, basically, that you can do. And so one more item. This is a report that actually is this long, and then it goes down to here and it continues. So this is all one report. But to show it in a large enough size where you can see anything, I've split it into two. But there's lots of things that you can do with report writing. Most of this is in the custom report part because it's bringing in all the data. But the structure, actually, most all of this is in the custom report part. But you've got a section for accounts receivable, budgets, costs, and profit. It's a real good report. Lots of different things that you can be doing. Anyway, we'll keep on going. And now I want to thank you for doing your homework and your questions. And there were a lot of questions this time, and that was good. So I'm very impressed with the quality of your reports and your questions. Let's take a look at some of the things that were asked about: centering fields, adding subtotals and totals. Some of these things were because we didn't get just to the next step, like subtotals and totals. That would be next, but we only got to group one and detail lines. Page breaks, saving my report, and I also added how to delete reports. Naming my report, finding hidden fields. Okay, so let's cover some of these questions that you sent. Okay, homework questions. I'd like to center the job number, name, and the invoice number inside colored squares. Is that part of the square properties or description? Answer: the centering function does not exist in Sage in any area. Unbelievable, actually. You know, it right adjusts and left adjusts, but I don't know why they left that out, but there is no centering in there. Now, what you do is you put a box in there and you left adjust it, but you move it over to where it starts somewhere in the middle. But that doesn't mean if it's a short name, it's going to be off center, or if it's a really long name, it's going to be off center. So sorry, it's a function that I've wish they had a long time. So let's ask, on some jobs, the details are too close to the square underneath. In other words, like here or here. How do I move these up? Okay, so you go to properties. So basically, let's look at this one right here, job number. If you click on it and then right click, properties will come up. You click on properties and then you come here, and what moves these up, like the words job name, move it up in that space, is your top and height. Now usually you can't adjust the height, but the top you certainly can. I usually started at a top of 2, because if I do a box, then that's always going to be on 1, and I don't want them to bump. And 2 is a good spot for the top. I usually do, well, it depends on where in the field you are, but if it's towards the left edge, then you don't want to do 0 or 1. That's too close to the edge, especially if you're going to put a box around it. But 5 is probably good. It just depends on where you are. But this is the left side. That would be this side of this field. The width, sometimes you can adjust that, and that would be how wide this section is. The top would be the top line where that top is, and especially if we're doing a box. And then the height would be how tall that section is. So that's this section of properties. This is just a piece of it. It's a bigger screen, but these are the areas that affect the placement, in the field. Okay, question. I'm sure this is further along in our class, and yes, it was. But I'd love to add a subtotal under each job as well as the grand total at the end. And you're right. That's comes up today. So here we are. I was going to answer it right here. The subtotal row or band for subtotals and the total for totals, and that's right here. Last week we did groups and detail row, and that's where we stopped. But then you just add a subtotal row here for subtotals and those for totals down there. And so That was a real easy one to answer. Okay, on some jobs, the details are too close to the square underneath, and the numbers are cut off. How do I move those up a little bit? You right-click in the fields, select properties, just like we just talked about up above. Question, I'd also like to learn the settings for where the detail splits off to the next page. And more clearly, if a new page started with the same job number. So let's look at that. That we did not cover, but here's your screen, and you have a section right here at the top where you've got the table, the title, and the primary table, and right here, new form and new page. Let me explain what those are. Let's say you have a report that has jobs, and then the next grouping is year. Okay, so that's probably not a good example, but if you set a new form as group 1 lines, that means every time the report comes to a new, in this case, job, it'll create a new form, including the totals and everything. If you want it to just start on a new page in that report, you would put it over here, a new page. So you would change this to group 1, and that means every time the report does another group 1 line, it'll start at a new page. I'll show you that in the system as we go today, probably. How to get this report into Sage. Okay, here's the answer. And of course, so many systems these days are so different because of cloud, and your IT people handle it. So if you do it at your own place, you've got your own server there, you would go into your server, and then the Sage 100 Con folder. Inside that is the common folder. And inside that is a custom reports folder. That's the folder that your custom report goes into. The custom reports end in .rpf. For the forms, report forms, almost the same location, but the folder is the report forms folder. And that's where you put those. And so I'm showing you on my computer this PC, then the drive that is my server, and then Sage 100 Con, and then common, and then in the common folder there's a report for custom reports and report forms folders, and those are the two places that you go to save your reports. It's what's in here that creates the report list in your menus. Now, let's say if you want to delete a report, I get that question all the time. You just follow this, go into custom reports, and scroll down to find the report that you want to delete. Now let's go down here and put these two answers in. First of all, once you find it, you could just delete it. That's fine. But I think a better solution is when you're in the custom reports folder, create another folder inside there, and you can name it whatever you want, old or deleted or whatever. And instead of deleting those reports that are in there, just move them into the new folder that you have. If they're in a new folder inside these, they will not show up in your menu, but they're available if you ever decide you need to access them again. It's just a much safer way, a better way to do it. I do that all the time. And so if you change your mind, you can always go back and get it. So that's an answer for that. Now, still on homework questions. So there was a lot of good homework questions. Okay, I can't find my report. Okay, the report had two names. There was a name, this was one name, and this was the other name. Well, how can I have two names? Okay, well, let's take a look here. When you're saving well, let's see, you put in the title of the report, but when you go to save it, you have the file name. And if you're saving it in the 13.4 menu, which is the grouping of things that aren't put in Sage menus, then if these two are different and it's in 13.4, you'd have to be looking for either this one or that one because you don't know which one will show there. So if you're saving it into the 13.4 menu, these have to be exact, both exact. Now, if you're saving it to a menu, then you just type in the menu number. This is 080620. That's the menu. And then you would put in don't go by this one here. That's not a correct number for my example. But you would put in the menu numbers, and then you would find a report number between 1 and 20 that is available. If you give it a number, report number like 18, and there's already an 18 in there, it'll replace the 18 that was there with this one. And the 18 that was there is gone. So always be sure to check that you're not putting in a number, a report number that already exists. Now, if you've run out of places, in this menu number, like 1 through 20 is all used, you can do what I do, and that would be as you can see, I start the ABCs. 0, you can do 0A, B, C as a report number. So basically it would be 612, 0A, or 01 or 202. But if you run out of 1 through 20s, and you can also do 00, so it's really 0 to 20 is available. But you can also do these, and you can do that with zeros and ones, like zeros and ones here, but not twos or above. I don't know why. I don't know. No rhyme or reason in my mind as to why they can do 0 and 1, but not 2 and 3 and 4. Anyway, so that's the numbering. And this was the question, why can't I find it? Because it had two names, but it also led us the opportunity to talk about naming and that type of thing. So okay, there we go. Now, a scope of work. If you're doing your own reports, you probably pretty much know what you are looking to have in the report. But I always find it's good to give it a good, solid think through before you start setting up your report. I created a form that I can send out to customers so that they can do that thinking before they send me their request. And this is just a one-page thing. The one I send them is like 2 or 3 pages, but this is the key points on it. If you give it a title, that basically zeroes in on what you want included in there. And usually the title would be, something like AP invoice. And then the subtitle, which could be right after this, would give more information about AP invoices, so that when you get your list of reports, in the menu section, and you're listing, you can see 3 or 4 of those. If they just all said AP invoice, AP invoice, AP invoice, well, what's the difference between those? That's why the subtitles are really important for your lists, so you can tell the difference between them as you're looking in your list. And of course, the report number, and they don't need to do that, but you do if you're scheduling, if you're doing this for yourself. And then report size and shape. It's good for them to, or you, to decide what you want. Now, as a report writer, I get a request, oh, I want a list of job costs. Okay, now fix it, do it. Well, there's a lot of unanswered questions. Um, is it something, now landscape or portrait may be determined by the number of columns, but if they definitely don't want landscape, you need to know that before you're starting. And so the different sizes, those are important to know. You may have to explain what grouping is, but basically, if you want them something subtotaled, the grouping, that's what the grouping would be, and help them with the examples here. Here's some examples to fill in so that they get a sense, group 1, group 2, group 3. And then the columns, it's helpful to figure out what your columns are going to be. And so that's a place to put those in. And then your selection criteria, what does a client want, or what do you want for your reports? It's good to kind of figure that out before you get started. Okay. Now we're going to get into the meaty stuff. We've talked a little bit about primary tables, but there's a lot to decide about primary tables. I'm going to see if I can make that a little bit bigger. Yeah, good. Okay. This is from the book, page 44, but it gives us a good starting point to discuss these. And as I'm going through, I probably will cover what your question is going to be, but if I keep doing that and you don't ask, you'll probably forget the question. So feel free to just ask right in the middle of my talking if you have a question. So primary tables and their subtables, I've shown you, but we'll go on to the next page too, and I'll have a couple more of these expanded ones. The primary table is at the top on these expanded tables, and the subtables that are there are these first row of pluses. Inside these are the tables that connect to this table, and this table connects to that table. And so why is that important? It is very important because when you are choosing the primary table to write the report in, and I think I gave you this example last week, but I'll do it again. I got a request for a job cost report, and so I went and did the report in job costs. My fault, I didn't warn them that and of course they didn't ask me to do it in job cost table, that was my choosing, but I should have known, and I hadn't thought it through until it was too late. If you choose a table, often the restriction is that you'll only get data that comes from that table. Like if I use the job cost table, okay, only data will be printed for reporting items that have job costs already. For instance, you have a list of jobs and they have job costs in them, and you want all your jobs to show on the report, whether they have job costs or not. But if you use job costs for your primary table, only jobs that have job costs will show in that report, because the primary table is job costs. And that's really true on using cost codes. That's a real issue. For instance, you could have a report with budgets and job costs in it. Okay, well, if I use the budget table as the primary table, I'm only going to get data I'm only going to get cost codes that have budgets in them already. And so if a cost code doesn't have a budget, that's not going to that cost code is not going to show up in the report. But that cost code may have a job cost, but being in the primary table being in the budget table, it won't show until a budget amount is put in that job. Now, conversely, if that table is the job cost table, it's going to show only reports that have job costs. Now, all jobs usually have budgets on a lot of, or many, or most of the cost codes. But if it's the job cost table, the primary table is the job cost table, none of those cost codes are going to show until there are job costs appearing in them, which means that none of the cost codes with budgets are going to show. So what do you do? Well, there's a couple things, but mostly you have to use cost code as the primary table, which means that all the cost codes are going to show whether they've got budgets or job costs or anything else. The complication for that is you usually have to use SQL statements to pull data from the job cost table and pull the data from the budget table or for anything that you want to show on the report. And so it's not that you can't do a report with all the cost codes, but yes, it's a little harder. The other way to do that is if anybody uses the cost to complete module right here. If they're using that, then that module uses all the cost codes that are used in that job, whether it's just a budget or just a job cost or both. And you can take the listing of cost codes from this module for your report. And then you can add from anywhere in the system to that. But they have to be using that module and keeping it updated for you to be able to use that. And most people don't use that module. It's a great module. It's a good module, but a lot of people find that they are using just the areas they know and need without exploring. Okay, so primary tables. I think we're getting a sense of what some of the issues are there, but the importance of primary tables is crucial. Now, let's take a look here. What I'm talking about. Okay, your subtables to your primary table are equally important in the sense that they will pull. Okay, you say, okay, accounts receivable is my primary table. Well, good, it's got AP invoices, so the fields in AP invoices I can use in my report. Well, that's not exactly true. You can use the fields in the AP invoices if there's data in those fields. But again, like the example with job costs, AP invoices as a subtable will bring you the data only for AP invoices. It's like I'm talking around in circles, but it is a topic that is a little harder to understand. But I'll go on, and if you have questions about it, please ask either now or later, whatever's good for you. Now let's see. Let me see what we got going here. Just talking about what's not available. I'll leave that for you to review. I think I've talked about that mostly. Let's keep going. I'm talking a lot. So the primary tables. I expanded the 41 of the tables that would be most likely used as primary tables, so you could at a glance see what all the tables and fields are that are inside that primary table. Otherwise, you have to go and open these up just to see what's in them. Now let's take a look here. Okay, so let's come here and okay, we're going to is that where I'm going to go? No. Oh, okay, here. So you'd have to go in and open this up, and you can now here you can see what some of the subtables are, but you can't see, what the fields are unless you're clicking on these to see what's in there. You might need, let me go down here. Okay, you might need the city and state that an employee works in. Well, if you don't know where that would be, you'd have to start and look through all of these to find them. Now that one's pretty easy. If it's an employee, city or state, you go to employees, but you still have to open that up. And that's why I've expanded those tables in the book so that it's easier for you to take a look. It's also a good way to assess that you're choosing the right primary table for your report. Okay. I'm trying to shrink that up a bit. Okay. Give it a minute here. Okay, I think I probably should have cleared everything, restarted my computer before our meeting. I just ran out of time today. Okay, so more about the subtables and primary tables. I think we've covered that pretty well. Okay. Okay, that we have covered. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about naming your report, your report form. When you create a new report form, you should always start the new one that you've created with a Z. And I say that because if you don't, when you are doing, pulling a list of reports, let me just show you here. When you're doing a listing of reports, and see, I've got the Z's in front of these, but what happens is if you click on a report, and it's not assigned a report, it just has like a dot report, and it'll give you all the dot reports. It'll give you quite a long list if you have a lot of them. This will always be alphabetical. And so if you have a report that starts with an A or a B or a C, but it's specific to a certain report, not for everything, your A or B or C report is always going to be here first in the list. And that means that all of these, whenever you're looking to use one of these, you'd have to go into the list to find what you need. That way, if you always start your report forms with the letter Z, it'll always be out of the way, findable but it won't be first in the list on all the different reports that you have access to. I'm just trying to see if there's one. Here's one. Okay, see, it starts with that. And so even if I'm trying to run the job bonding analysis report, I have to go through and go down to get, okay, system report.land. So you don't have to do that, because if the new reports, all of these started with a Z, then everything else would be in front, and that saves you a lot of time and pain in the neck stuff. Okay, and so that's why you always start with the letter Z. Okay. Okay, let's talk about inserting pictures and logos. Sage pretty much requires that the pictures and logos you put in are .bmp reports or types of photos or documents, not JPEGs. You might be able to get a JPEG in, but it may cause problems. So .bmp. Let me see if I've got that here someplace. I should. Anyway, so when you're putting in a logo, and I'll go into Sage and do this so that you can see it. This is the button to push for insert a picture, and then you would click that, and then it will send you to where the listing of pictures are, and you can click on that, and then it'll come in and show up right here. And it's going to be a certain shape based on what's available in your document for space. And it probably won't be the right space or the right shape. And so you have to go in and click on this and get properties. And you can do, I'm sorry, that's so fuzzy. You have to, can get the sizes here, or you can pull it to shapes. These three buttons here have, or dots, you can use these to pull it one way or another, diagonally here or down here, this one. And so that way you can shape those things. Let's go into, well, these will be good. No, not that one. Well, that's okay too. Okay, so there we go. I'll go here. So we're going to go into modify. Actually, usually we're doing these in report forms. So I will go into here. So edit, form design. Oh, good. If I don't save this, it'll be fine. So I'm going to make space. And so I'm going to go up here to insert a picture. Click on that. Should take me to a list of pictures. Let's see. Okay, we'll give this guy a picture. Okay, so what we have here is, now you'll see if I've clicked on that, properties. Okay, so now you can see I had to right click, get properties, and then you see these little dots are the things that you can use to move this. So if I click in there, The other thing you can do, oh, what's up? Let's see here. Let's get this over here. You can also come in here and, okay, left is 28, top is 48. So width, I'm going to make this, oh, let's say 100. And the height, it's not going to be proportional, so it's going to get screwy. But if I make this 200, now you'll be able to see what's going to happen. And now I can now I usually can grab that. There we go. So I can pull it this way. I can do this. I got the gray box in there too. So anyway, so that's doing a picture or a logo, and that's how you can add it. You click on the insert a picture. It takes you to a list. Pick the list, get it in here, and then you can adjust it to fit according to what works. Sometimes the logos are really wide, and so that's it. So I'm going to X out and not save. So that's intact. There are probably other examples that might be a little more definitive, but let's keep going so we don't run out of time. Okay. Okay, predefined fields. In report forms, you have some predefined fields that are available to you, and this is a list of them. And so in a report form, let's go right back here to where we were approximately. And we'll go up here to, well, let me get this over. And we'll go edit form design. Okay, and so you see CP caret and then current date, CP and this report title, I believe, and these are CP numbers. They're only usable in the report forms, and this is a list of them. They're in the book. They're also, let's see, where would be a good way to find them. Offhand, I can't think of another way, but anyway, you can find the list, choose the type one that you want, and you can either type it in. They're pretty easy to type in, and just do that. And then they're at the bottom too. And so those are all CPs. Now, if you want to use regular terminology for formulas, you can try it and see if it works. And it can, but these are already made and they're specific for report forms. So, okay, back you go. Okay. Okay. Come on. Acting a little skittish today. As soon as this goes back to normal, it'll we can scoot it. Okay. Okay. Now, homework. I'm going to talk about homework real quick, but then I'm going to, what time I have left, I'm going to actually go in and do a report form. Homework. Um, I'd like you to do a report form. Doesn't matter how fancy or plain, just have some fun. You can do boxes and stuff like this, or, it can be a contract or whatever. That's your homework. Same rules, send me a sample, just send me the printout. That's fine, of the report form in a report, of course. And, uh, I'll get a chance to take a look at it. But I want you to use your logo, use a logo, and it doesn't need to be exact. Choose your own colors, use the CP fields, um, and if you choose an AR invoice with as many lines as you have, that'll fill the gray box area, and it'll go to the second page. But it's the form that I'm interested in, not all the details that would go into the gray box. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it, but if you don't have a gray box here, you're not going to get any data in here from the report, from the custom report part. Now, usually, almost always, the page 2 is the overflow page, and that's almost a solid. Here, let's go here. Page 2 is the overflow page, and even though it's only one page, it doesn't matter how many overflow pages there are. Page 2 takes care of all of the overflow pages. Okay, so we'll just go here.
Was there somewhere where the logo is put in for all reports? Because I didn't add logos, but when I print reports, it automatically puts our logo on them. Like
yes.
Even the ones I just made.
Yeah. If you put in your logo and save it in report forms, and you give it the name logo.bmp, it's likely to use your logo for all of them.
Okay.
Okay. Now, right now, the little two houses, that Sage has there for the standard logo for reports, that's probably named logo.bmp. And so you'd get rid of that one and put yours in with that name. And that's what will populate most all reports with your logo.
Okay, so yeah, I'm assuming we have that set up somewhere, because even the one I made last week, like it already had our logo when I went to print it.
Yeah, now see, like that's my company's name. Let's go back to here. I'll show you. Okay, properties, and this is the location.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to home there. Okay, so there's the location. That's my computer. Then the Sage 100. Anyway, that's my location for it.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go real quick to. Here's where the custom reports and report forms are for mine. So here's, let's scroll down to logo. I have a few forms in there. Okay, so logo, that's the BMP. And so if you make logo yours,
Mm-hmm.
that's the one that will pop up on most of the forms.
Okay.
Okay. And that answers that question, but that's where it goes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And so that's that. Okay. All right. And so on your homework, just, oh, I know I was going to show you the gray box. Okay, let's go back in here real quick. And we're going to go into edit form design. Okay, so here's the gray box, and the gray box is where your custom report data goes. And so, this has got a small heading, small footer, and then page 2 is almost solid gray box. Now you can, like this is the title and then continued or whatever you want to put on there. If you don't put any typing on there and it's just a gray box, sometimes you'll have a few issues, but not always. And so just test it out. If you're having trouble and there's no other typing on here, just put in something up here that lets us know that that's a separate page. Anyway, and so even if the report flows over to 15 pages, just page 2 handles all those extra pages. And this one only has the front page and the page 2. Now, if this were a contract, you'd have this page as the front page and maybe the details and the subtotals and the totals of the contract. And then page 2 is still the overflow, but then page 3 would be the start of your contract form with all the verbiage and blah, 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 blah. And page 4 would be the continuation, and 5 and 6, however long the blah, blah, blah part is. And let me see if I can get to one of those real quick here. So subcontracts, print subcontracts, let's do this. And so subcontracts, let's see, subcontract list with pages. I know there's one in here with 16 pages. I'm sorry, I don't have one off the tip of my head. Yeah, so, oh. Proposal. Well, I apologize for, the spottiness of today's presentation. I really had a tough week trying to get the recording going. I actually spent 3 full days working with things to get that recording working. Okay. I don't know if that's going to show anything. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Anyway, I'm just going to go ahead on. There we go. Let's see the page. No, there's nothing there. I will send that. I'll find it and send you a sample so you can see what I'm talking about. But on the homework, you've got this PDF that I'm working off of here, so you can take a look at the parameters for doing homework. just have some fun, do something fun with it. And okay, get it back down to size 1. Come on. There we go. Okay, so anyway, this is a sample. The final result. Here's the modify screen, and week 2. You go ahead and try doing a report form and send that to me. Let's see. We got a couple minutes here. Let's go to okay. This is the report form and blank slate. I'm just going to get this in and out of the way. Create a report detail area. Okay, that's the gray box. Okay, so there's that. And of course you can move it. Oop. I got a gray box and a gray box here. So that can be a problem when you go to print, because if you got stuff printing here, then it's going to start printing here as well. I'm glad I did that, because I probably wouldn't have mentioned that as a issue. So the best thing to do is to delete that and then delete that and start over. Yeah, I'm glad I showed you that, because if you get a little click in here and you're dealing with the gray box, every gray box is going to start the detail of your report all over with the new gray box. And so it's important not to be real careful in putting that in, and not getting a duplicate box in there. Okay, so we're going to try that again. And now we're just going to put in some fields. I'm going to put in, here, let me just get a field here, and I can put in AR invoice. Now this could also be a title. I mean, the CP report title, but I can also do something like this. Arial black, 12, and then move this to where I want it. And then usually your logo goes here. I have to go up to the logos. There. Whoop. There it is. Report form. There's one. Okay, so there's a logo. And if I want it to be a little smaller, I can do that. I can move it around. So let's just leave that there. And then, okay, let's see. Trying to think of where that list is. Let's put that in, and let's do an F5. Nope. Okay. There's a list in the book, and I know that there's a place that you can click on and get it. Help about this window. Oh yeah, use this help thing about the window you're in all the time because it'll answer your questions about things that you're working on. Okay, and I just want to do CP caret, and hopefully that'll give us the list. 0 results. Okay, maybe. Well, that's disappointing. Okay, well, anyway, we'll skip that part. And I know that CP caret, I don't know, current date. Oh. And anyway, so you put in your fields, you can put in a box around these. And just like the boxes, you can use them and put some color in them. I don't know if those are going to be the same as. Anyway, so yeah, we're down to a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and add some other things that you need to see here. So pages. You can add a page. Well, for instance, if you have a report form, let's get one that's here. So this is important for you to see first before we go. Okay, we're going to do this and this. Okay. Okay, let's see what's on the next page here. That's just the overflow page. Okay, so what we're going to do is pages. I'm going to copy a page. So I just copied this page, and I will go and add a page. That means it's going to add it at the end. And so I click that, and now you see there's 3 pages. The second is the overflow, and then third is blank. And now I'll go up here to paste a page. And there you have that. So that's duplicating the first page. And if I want to insert a page, that'll insert a blank page in front of the page that I'm on. And so there's the insert a page. So that's 3, and then 4 is the last one that we added. And let's do some more things here real quick. Page format. Okay. And so here you can set the width and height of a page. You can do the margins. And here you can snap. Let's show the grid. Let's see, save. Now you can see there is a slight grid there. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a 1/4 inch grid. Let's go back here and format. That's a 1/4 inch grid. If you want to snap to position on the items that are in here, like the fields, you want them to, you're trying to get them exact, and you want to snap to the closest one, you can do every 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch snap to and use that. I don't use it much, but it certainly is there available. And so those are important to know about all here. And then you can view the page. Viewing page is problematic. Anyway, you can try it and see what happens. So those are there. Okay, I think we're good to go here. Okay. Any questions before we go? Did you all go to sleep? Are you still there? Are you still there?
Mute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
no questions here.
Okay. Well, you'll get a copy of the recording, and I also am going to send you. Let me see if I have it handy here. Not that. Let's see. Oh, I probably don't have it handy. Let's see here, real quick. File. Oh, yes, there we go. Okay, I just made this up this week. It's instructional videos that I have on YouTube that are in my channel. And so there's quite a bit. And some of them in here are doing alignments, logos, and boxes. You may have seen some of these already in the presentation from week 1. And I'll send you this list, and then you can click on here and go to the video and watch it. Adding rows, adding fields, lines and boxes and color, the scheduling module, takeoff module. This one is a 44-minute one on doing report forms. No, this is custom report. This is an 11-minute one on doing report forms. These are both on my book talking about the features, but you already have the book. And so I'll send you this too. That'll help you find examples in video of things. And some of them are better quality than the others, but at least they're there. And so, all right. Well, thank you very much. And I appreciate you being here today and bearing with me. Today has been a little stranger day for me, but thank you very much, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Sounds
you.
good. Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye. Okay. Stop recording. Stop.